For Jacques Marine, which is a two-part film, it's 4 or 5 hours of movie. It's going through, 15 years of his
30.
life, 30 years of his life. So how do you prepare for something like that? And when you shot this, you've won the César for Best Actor. I think you should be in the running for the Academy Award this year from the United States for Best Actor. But where do you start with that character?
Well, I've been involved with this movie for 7 years before we shot it, so I really had time to read everything written by or about him. I've met like some of his accomplices, people he worked with, let's say, bank robbers. I've met like cops who ran after him for like years. I've met journalists who interviewed him. I met his kids. I met, as much as I could. And then, it's like what they say about culture. You take as much as you can, and what's left when you forget about everything. So and plus the fact that I had so much time, even though it wasn't on purpose, it's just because we had problems to get the right script, the right director, to raise the money, to greenlight the cast and everything. So I just had the time to read, get involved, then go do something else. So meanwhile, digest those things, then come back and find some other things. And there was another very interesting thing is that by the minute we announced the movie, that we were about to make this movie, then it took 7 years, I've been in contact with so many people. Everybody has a story with Jacques Marine. Everybody. People who met him, people who, they were in the same neighborhood and they say, oh, he was coming here every morning to have his coffee, and he had this shitty wig on. He thought nobody recognized him, but everybody knew it was him. But people didn't say anything because either they respected him too much, or they were scared.
Right.
Or maybe both.
Right.
And so I had time to listen and to many things, and then make it my own.
Now, he wrote an autobiography that was one of the sources for this movie, but from what I understand, the autobiography is the epitome of the unreliable narrator, because he invented and exaggerated, and everything was to make him look good. How do you work with that, and is that very much part of his psyche, of the character you're playing?
Totally. It's part of it, and I think it's actually it's very interesting because it's not like he invented everything, but Marine was a showman. He had a huge ego, and he wanted to be looked at as a real thug, much harder than what he was maybe. And so he invented most of the things that were in his biography. But the cool thing about that is that we had this, and then we had the reality report from other kinds of sources, and then just to compare the both, then you would see it's funny. He's very there. He says the truth when it's not very nice for himself. So maybe that's something that he wasn't ashamed of. And then you could see that some of the things, for example, in this book, he's accusing himself of 43 murders. He was only accused of 3 in real life by the police. Okay. But none of those crimes, none of them, have been proved even today.
The 43 that he took credit for?
Not even the 3 that he was really accused of.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. But still, this guy has been executed literally by the police in the middle of the street with 17 bullets in his body and 1 in the head, really next to it, to be sure that he was dead. What does that mean, How come the police can come and just be so violent to somebody who didn't have the possibility of retaliation? There must be a reason. And my take on that is that he used the media too much.
He became a thorn. He gave them the finger, so to speak.
All the time. And at a certain point, the right-wing government at the time just couldn't afford it anymore, And I guess they didn't have the sense of humor with that. And, 78 is the favorite celebrity of French people.
Wow.
Before, politicians, singers, actors, name it.
Before Yves Montand, before Gerard Depardieu, anybody.
So, he's the favorite. He managed to escape from La Santé, which is the biggest high-security prison in Paris. Everybody's after him. He's on the run. Literally, this guy is wanted, big time. And he manages to be on the cover of Paris Match, was Time Life, let's say, with a machine gun, hand grenades, giving a 4 pages interview threatening the government. And that's why he died.
Wow. So when you look at roles, this was obviously a very special case for you, something you committed to, and of course, because it spans 30 years, you never had to worry, I'm going to be too old if we don't get this movie made. You could just say, we'll work it out somehow. But how do you choose? When Darren Aronofsky calls, do you say, well, Darren, that's a nice idea, Black Swan, but what is my part? Let me see the script?
Of course not. I mean, the part is important, but I mean, what I'm looking for really, something I'm starting to understand now, is that I need to be part of something that has personality, you know, and personality is something very rare, you know, because the kind of society we're living in, you know, everything has to be formatted, you know, so, you know, it pleases everybody, which is impossible really, or it becomes like a pop cycle or something with no taste really. For me, the most important thing is personality. I mean, obviously, when somebody like Darren Aronofsky or David Cronenberg are calling me, I know there will be personality because they are true artists, and they will come up with things that might not be easy to sell, but that eventually will stay.
So, do you play a Russian in this ballet troupe in Black Swan?
I'm French. My name is Thomas Leroy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
Thomas the King.
how was that?
Oh, that was great. I mean, I really enjoyed it a lot. We shot in New York, so that gave me the opportunity to stay here for a fair amount of time, and that's been a while. So, and plus the cast, you know. I mean, you know, it's funny. I worked with Natalie Portman, who literally started her career in France with
Luc Besson's movie,
The Professional.
Yes.
And so, you know, and Mila Kunis and Winona Ryder and all those people, and then. No, it's a psychological thriller. It's how much a horror movie really, and the bits and pieces that I've seen, because I'm going to discover it at the Venice Film Festival. I'm already very proud of it.
I see you there. I'm going to be there. I can't
Great.
wait. And also, when you get a chance to go back with Cronenberg after Eastern Promises.
I did already.
You did that already.
We did Dangerous Method. The movie's completed with Viggo Mortensen, Michael Fassbender, and Keira Knightley.
Oh my God!
That was great, and it's about the relationship between Freud and Jung. So it's a you know, that kind of movie.
It's not a sexy movie where you're taking off your clothes and.
Actually, it's pretty sexy.
Oh, it is.
Psychology has a lot to do with sex.
Okay.
On a certain level, and eventually we'll meet again if that happened for Eastern Promises too.
And when you finished with Cronenberg and Viggo on the first one, did you all say to yourself, "Let's make a pact. We will work together again in the future," or is it just chance that throws you together?
Everybody's free, and if people have to meet again, it's because, you know, things happen. You don't have to there's no contract on that.
Now, being married to Monica Bellucci, you work together in Irreversible. Will you work together again, or is it not a good idea?
Of course, yes. No, but it's not only Reversible. We did like 9 movies together. We did voices for cartoons. We did short movies together. We haven't been on stage, but we're actually preparing a movie that's going to be a romantic comedy shot in the middle of the carnival in Rio next year. And no, of course, I love to work with her.
So, is there anything that there's something missing in Vincent Cassel's life? You seem to be on top of the world.
Whatever that means. I mean, you know, as
actors are supposed to be insecure and unhappy. No?
Unhappy, I don't know. Insecure, I mean, it's good to be insecure in a way because you keep on searching for something. I mean, I enjoy myself, you know, I travel a lot. I just had a new kid, you know. I make weird kind of movies. Now it's the second kid I have. And so it's all good, you know, as long as I find movies, strange movies to make, I'm more than happy.
Do you think your children, last question, are going to be following in mom and dad's footsteps the way you did?
I don't know. I will never push them, you know. I mean, if you want to be part of this business, it has to come from yourself because it's pretty rough, you know. If you work well, it's wonderful. If you don't, it's the end of the world. So it's not something you should put somebody to, you know. If she wants to, she will do it. If she feels that she has to do it.
And do you have a favorite performance of your own and a favorite performance of Monica's?
I think Monica in Irreversible is absolutely incredible, and I don't see any actress who really did it to that level. For myself, honestly, I'm not the one to judge.
Okay, thank you.